Hello, gentlemen, and welcome to our first session of remote learning. I hope you guys enjoyed your spring break. And once again, I feel for the two baseball players I had that had their season canceled. Hopefully, something gets worked out and they give you maybe an extra year of eligibility if you guys can afford to stick around and play somewhere else. So, first thing I want to do in this video is kind of go over the revised schedule that I sent out to you guys just to make sure we were all on the same page. Okay, so what my plan is that we are going to do a chapter a week, and then when it comes to test, you are going to have a full week for the test. So this week we'll be doing chapter 11, next week chapter 15, the week after that will be the third exam, and then 13, 16, and 17 with the final exam occurring between May 2nd and May 4th. Okay, so the good thing is, since we are already set up on Connect, a lot of stuff is not going to change. All your homework is still going to be done through Connect, but the major difference is when we do a chapter a week, instead of waiting until when the test week is due to turn in all your homework, I'm going to expect you to do your homework throughout the week and have it done by Sunday night at 11:59 on the night that we cover that chapter on that week. Okay? So that's really the only major change as far as policies go. This is going to be our major form of communication, is me doing these Zoom meetings and these lectures. We are in my living room or my dining room right now. My dog is over there just chilling out on the couch. Kitchen is over this way. So Carl may come and join us from time to time. You never know. Sometimes he gets lonely over there. It's kind of been a challenge to work from home, and I'm not a real big fan of making these meetings. I did go and buy a whiteboard behind me, so I'm going to work the problems that we go through on there. And hopefully I write big enough so you can see, and I will take any feedback that you guys can give me on what I can do to improve this and make it more understandable for you. Also, I don't know if you guys are familiar with using Zoom. Every Thursday I have it set up, and I've reserved a time from about 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock where if any one of you three is having trouble with something or wants to discuss something, I will set up a Zoom meeting where you guys can join and we can talk face to face. Or if you're having any troubles, do not hesitate to reach out to me through email. And if I can't resolve your problems there, we will set up a time to maybe FaceTime or Skype or chat on the phone. But I will be readily available for you guys anytime you have any questions or you need help with anything. I do have on the schedule that I was going to get your project to you today. It is almost finished up, but I will probably not have it on Moodle today. It'll probably be posted tomorrow, but I will send you an email when I do, as well as I will also send you an email every time I post a new video. Okay, I've revised the project a little bit. Still going to be the same problems out of the book, but I'm going to make it so it's a little simpler because it needs to be submitted through Excel. And with me not being there, Excel for me is hard to teach remotely. So I want to make it so the hardest part of the assignment is probably going to be putting it together in Excel, not actually figuring out the answer to the problem. I'll just put it that way. Okay, but I'll have more details for you whenever I release all the information, probably later tonight or sometime tomorrow. So if you have any questions on how the class is going to be set up, or you have any concerns, especially with technical issues or internet issues, if you live in a rural area and you're having troubles, or you're worried that you may, especially when it comes to the test, because, the test, let me mention, the test will be done through Connect, and it'll be a week where we set aside for the test, but the first couple days are going to be like review days, and I'll post a review video, host a meeting if anybody requests it again. And then the test, you'll have 3 days to do the test. They will have a time limit on them, which I will determine after I make them and everything. But you only have one attempt, and once you start, you'll have to finish. So if you're worried about your internet connection maybe going out while you're taking a test, or if you're concerned that you may not have good enough connection to finish your homework or your assignments, please let me know as soon as possible, and we will make some proper arrangements in order for you to get everything completed. Not my goal to make anyone fall behind or be a pain in the butt on you for the rest of the semester, because I know our stress levels are high right now. But we do have some material that we have to cover. Okay. So this week is going to be chapter 11, which deals with service department costing and job costing. For that, we will do chapter 15, which it deals with transfer pricing, then we'll have our first exam. So for the remainder of this first video, I'm going to talk about the first part of chapter 11, the service department costing. Okay. On Moodle, I have posted a worksheet, the chapter 11 handout, which will be underneath in the unit 3 folder. So I'll try to include it in the email, but you will need to print that out or maybe pull up the Word document and have it up on the side of the screen next to this lecture because it is something we are going to go through. But in case you did not see that or you do not have that ready yet, why don't you go ahead and pause the video now and go ahead and grab that or get it ready and then return to this and we'll start a lecture on chapter 11. Okay, so what we've been doing so far, we've talked about how all production cost needs to go into the jobs, and kind of into inventory, and then it is eventually expensive cost of goods sold. We talked about job costing and then activity-based costing within the job costing system, and then process costing. And that takes into account all the direct materials, the direct labor, and the manufacturing overhead. But there still are a couple other costs that are associated with the products that need to get added in, and they're called service department costs. Okay, these are departments that assist in the production of the product, but they are indirect and they do not get accounted for in the manufacturing overhead cost. Okay, so when you think of service departments, they are providing services to the other departments. Maybe you have an information technology or an information services department. So they are providing services working on the computers for the people in the purchasing department or the receiving department. And maybe they're working on the technology on the machines for in the assembly department or the cutting department. Okay. The other department you might have is your administrative, which deals with human resources. Human resources are going to be hiring employees and training employees for all different production departments. Okay, and providing support in various areas, same as maybe a repairs and maintenance department. So you can have multiple different service departments, and we need to allocate those costs of those departments to the products in some manner. Okay, so the way this is done is very similar to the way we have been allocating costs in the past. Each service department is going to get a cost pool, and then it is going to get an allocation base, and we are going to allocate it and that through to the end user in that manner. So the service departments are set up for user departments. Okay, the user departments are always the end users. Okay, and those are where all the costs accumulated in the service department are going to end up allocated to the user departments, which are the end users. All right, so we're going to do an example that is in the book and on the slides. Okay, there's things sitting up here on the board. In this example, we have two departments, two service departments. Okay, we have an information services department and an administration department. Okay, so these are our service departments. Over here, we're going to put our user department. Now, even though the information systems and the administrations are service departments, they are technically also user departments also, because administration is going to provide some services over to the information services and vice versa. Information services is going to provide some services over here. So we are going to list them as user. But the example also gives us that the end users, the ones where all the costs are going to get through, are the products that are being made. We have a Sierra, and a Cascade. Okay, So what we're going to do is we're going to get all these costs from the information and all the admin service departments. And eventually they're going to get put into either the Sierra or the Cascade. There are multiple ways to do this. Okay? And this is one of the adjustments that I've had to make for this class because I wasn't sure. They're all very similar, but the math and gets a little tricky when it gets into the second ones, but they're all end up going to the same spot and they follow the same kind of format. So what we're going to focus on is just one of them, okay? So the three ways that you can do this is the direct method, the step method, or the reciprocal method. The direct method is a method where we ignore what goes on in the inter-department. So when the information services or the administrations are users and they get stuff used in them, whatever the allocation base is, you'll see when we start working through the problem, we're just going to completely ignore that. Under the step method, you're going to take the costs from one of the departments, which will be predetermined by management, so either your information systems or your administration, and you're going to allocate them to the other department based on usage, as we're going to do. But then whatever the other department uses back, it does not get added back to its cost, okay? So that's why the math gets a little tricky in there, and that's a little weird concept because you're sending costs from one department to the other, but not sending the other one back. And it's probably not really useful or used that often because the other method is the reciprocal method. And that is a method where the service department is going to charge everything that they did for the administration department to them, and the administration department is going to charge everything they did for the information services department to them. And then we're going to have to adjust the total cost pool, and then you would assign them in the same manner to the end user departments, in this case, the Sierra and the Cascade. So the costs are going to end up going into the same place under the same end manner. The difference is how you're determining the cost pools, and for simplicity's sake, for this class, we are only going to worry about using the direct method. Okay. Further said, the direct method ignores all inter-service department usage. So what I want to do now is I'm going to pull right up here on the board what the book, the kind of information it gives you for this, okay? For this question. As I said, we're going to have a total cost. So for the information systems, make sure I got this right. I need both of these pieces of paper. The information systems is $800,000. Is what this is going to be given. That is the amount of costs that were assigned. No, that's too high. That would be the amount of cost that was for information services, okay? Administration cost amounted to $5 million. So I now am going to take some of the other stuff we got here. I need to make this a little bit smaller. Information services. It was given to us that they are going to use computer hours as their allocation base. Where admin is going to use the number of employees as their allocation base. So then it starts giving us usage numbers, okay? Information system used 100, or excuse me, administration used $100,000 or 100,000 hours, computer hours from the information services. While the Sierra used 20,000 and the Cascade used 80,000. When we look at employees for the information service costs, the admin or admin cost. Information services has 2,000 employees. Sierra has 5,000. And the Cascade has 3,000. So what we need to do is we are going to find out how to allocate that 800,000 and the 5 million between the Sierra and the Cascade. That is the question that we are trying to determine. Okay, the total service department cost, how much goes to each product. So, think about this one under the direct method. It is the simplest of all the methods. As I said, we're going to ignore the usage that was done in the admin and the IS department. So the user usage, you can ignore this number. We can ignore that number, okay? They are going to be irrelevant to what we're going to do. And then we're just going to do a simple weighted average between the computer hours used and the number of employees to find that percent and then apply it to the dollar amount. Okay, so I hope you have this written down. I'm going to put it a little bit closer for a minute in case you don't. So you can see it all, hopefully. I'm trying to see my screen to see if I got it all. I'm going to erase most of it now, but that's smaller board. We had 800,000 information service cost. Of our graph, we have 20,000. The Sierra used 20,000 computer hours, while the Cascade used 80,000. Total of 100,000. Divide them. Okay. If you were watching as I was writing it out there, I had to sit down. My leg and my back are still killing me. Okay, so we used 20,000 computer hours on the Sierra and 80,000 for the Cascade for a total of 100,000 computer hours. So I divided by each of them and found out 20% was used for the Cascade or the Sierra and 80% used for the Cascade. With a total cost pool of 800,000, you just apply that percent to them. Okay, so you multiply the 800,000 by 20%, and the Sierra gets allocated $160,000, while the Cascade is going to get 640. We will do the same thing on the admin side. Well, remember then it was used by employee hours. We were ignoring the employee hours used in the information systems department. So we had 5 million as our cost pool. For our admin. Sierra and the Cascade, we had 5,000 and 3,000 employees for a total of 8,000. And when you divide that by 8,000, you get 62.5 and 37.5% respectively. Sierra is going to get 5 million times 62.5%. which is going to come out to 3,125,000. Our Cascade is going to get 5 million times the 37.5%. And I did not have that number written down. I forgot to do that math. Then to find the total cost that is allocated to each other, once you have those numbers, you just add those two together. Okay? It is a fairly simple process going through. And that is the only one you're going to have to worry about for your homework or your testing purposes. And I told you to print out that sheet of paper because I was going to go through question number 1 with you on that. But I believe I'm going to wait and make a review video on Thursday if no one wants to have a review session. I'll probably make a short review video where I do a couple more problems with you. But I think this one should get you the basic idea and should be able to get you through and started on your homework. There will be one more video coming, probably not until later this evening. This is Tuesday when I'm making this, depends on when you watch it. So it should be out Tuesday, March 24th in the evening time. Okay, then we'll deal with the rest of Chapter 11 and joint costing and whether you should process further or sell at this point in time. But this will get you started with doing a couple of your homework questions. And once again, do not be shy. Reach out to me if you have any questions about the remote learning or if you're having any internet issues or anything like that, or if there's anything else I can do for you. Let's have a wonderful end to the semester and finish strong, guys.